So there's the Alliance card. So that's interesting that it showed up right off. And the Six of Swords, well, I'd say with that Alliance card coming right up, and then, oh my goodness, I'd say this is a yes. And we're moving in the right direction. This has been a big part of it. I think it's been a lot more than that, but it's absolutely a big part of it has been the war with these other beings, non-earth-based beings, let's say. Okay, and are they from underground? Are they from under the ocean? Are they from other dimensions, even other parts of Earth that we don't even know about? Okay, like not sure exactly how it works. Or are they from deep space? Okay, so regardless where they're from, it looks like we're like this is a yes on the question. Okay, so that's interesting. We've got this Justice card. So I feel like a lot of the things we've been told are absolutely true as well. So in the Q movement, and so a lot of political focus, etc. I don't think it takes away from the other things that we know to be true. And but those are more details. In a really big way, it feels like a yes on the question. The aliens were a really big part of this. I don't think they're all of it, but they're a big part of it. Okay, so a big yes on that. Now let's look at, was the world being prepared with all of the info on underground tunnels, secret tech exposed? Like, were they soft sort of exposing us, getting us ready and prepping us for this alien information? The fact that our history is all lies, because that'll reveal, like when true history comes out, very revealing that aliens are likely a really big part of it. All you got to do is look at ancient artifacts with actual space-suited energy beings or even crafts involved in the ancient cave paintings, not to mention carvings. Like this is crazy how much is out there and has likely been hidden from us. So let's see, the fact that our history is all lies, was this all a psyop to prepare us for inevitable war with aliens? So are we being prepared also with all of this other information? Okay, so I guess in a way with that last read, it's a yes, but I think it doesn't take away from all the other things we're learning. But let's see what how the cards say it. Okay, so that's our Trump card, kind of the Trump brand card, government card. There's a sense of government with that. Oh boy, 3 major arcanas right across, so a big old yes. So we're absolutely being prepared. There's other things, but the alien part looks really important as well. Financial comes right secondary to that. Of course, the financial enslavery, so the enslavement of humanity with debt and the way they've run the finances. I believe that was taught to a group of what we now call that 1% elites. And maybe it's even bigger than 1% now, but anyway, the small percentage of elites that run the banking, run the mainstream media, they're all the same folks, and run the royal families, et cetera, and have created this whole dynamic of debt slavery and enslaved us all with laws that are not in any way for the people, like they're only to rape and pillage us, and governments, they've created governments. I feel like that's definitely really close second, but the alien situation is why that even happened. Okay, so I feel like what it'll do is expose that aliens have been running the country at that 1%, and or even if it's more than 1%, a percentage of, and what we call elites are very likely actually aliens, okay, or they're hybrids of those same demonics that started this whole thing in the first place, created this this matrix we're now living out. Okay, they entangled the world in a matrix, and I feel like we're untangling ourselves from it. It was their vision of how they wanted things to be, and I feel like we're going to change that by breaking the illusions and finding all these rabbit holes. We're helping break the spells that they put over us. Yeah. Wow. Crazy. Okay. So, is the EBS going to be about aliens? Is the EBS? So the EBS, of course, we thought it was going to be about exposing adrenochrome, but I mean, adrenochrome, I think, was taught by alien energies and entities to this percentage of what we now call or have been calling elites, and they've created this whole lifestyle around adrenochrome harvesting, and I think it was taught by the, so in a way already there's a yes to that, but let's have a look. So it doesn't mean all of the other stuff isn't going to be part of the EBS, but let's see what the cards say about that. So 8 and a big yes in the middle. Okay, so yes for the general population, but it's more complex for people more in the know. So the more evolved and sort of listening and awakened you already are, okay, the general population this might be a way to get to them. I feel like they're going to bring in the whole alien thing. So the rest of the things we know, okay, so all of the things that kind of spider out from, okay, so they bring it into the general population, but there's way more to it, and we're going to be filling in the details for these people. I feel like the alien aspect is the way they're going to bring everybody all eyes on. So the part about the aliens is more for the normies in the EBS, because it might bring everybody, somehow it'll bring everybody on page so they can look at the other stuff. Okay, so it doesn't negate the other stuff. Whoops, hang on. See what happens there. We go. Yeah, so there, yeah, so it's complicated. But yeah, a big part of it is going to be, aliens are playing a big role here coming up, it looks like, or the idea of them or how they've affected us, all of the above. Okay, now, this was another question, and it's a little bit convoluted, so let me, I guess it's not really. Deep state largely under control in the US, or that's how it appears, okay, and that's what the cards have been saying. But the person's wondering about in Europe is the mainstream media and other places in the world, but in particular, they were wondering about Europe, because it seems like the mainstream media there isn't under any kind of, they haven't been controlled, they're still deep state controlled. This is what the person's seeing and asking. So are they in fact also capitulated, or as capitulated, say, as the mainstream media in the US? Okay, and I guess we could include lots of places other than Europe, but in the rest of the world, is the mainstream media, like how much of it has capitulated to the White Hat Alliance and how much of it is still deep state? We're going to look at percentages, okay? Because according to the person asking the question, they're seeing that mainstream medias in particular in Europe are absolutely deep state run. Okay, but I mean, we could say that about Canada and the US as well. Okay, and it's only the cards that are leading us to like and some little big, like not little, I guess, little big, that doesn't make sense. Some leaks that if you're watching and if you're a Q follower, you would know that, or you would believe that mainstream media has capitulated and is now doing the walk of shame. But of course, not everybody's buying into that. So let's have a look at, in Europe, how much of the mainstream media is actually still deep state. We'll ask it like that. That's a For the People card, by the way. I'm going to say they're as many, yeah, so they're doing the very same thing as the US, and there's as much capitulation there as in the US. So I'm going to say that it's not a correct statement to say that the mainstream media in Europe is largely deep state. I'd say it's the opposite of that. I'd say it's largely capitulated and is absolutely, like it was deep state, absolutely, but they all had to capitulate, and now they're doing the walk of shame. So just keep watching. They might be a little behind us, or we're just not paying enough attention, because they're outing themselves. That's what that looks like. And the truth is coming out, and very soon starts to really come out. And when it does, a floodgate opens up of truth, and it'll come through the mainstream media. So I'm going to have to say that person's perception of what's going on there is not correct. Okay, I'm going to say that it's largely capitulated, just like in the US. Okay, yeah, but they're using it still to out these guys. And if you really watch, like, it's so absurd what's going on, in particular in the UK and Ireland, and it's just unbelievable, in Germany and France, like all of these places all over Europe. It's so obvious that these guys are unbelievably deep state players. So if they're making themselves that obvious, because that's not the MO of deep state, they like to be covert about it, and they're absolutely not wanting to be in the limelight about their activities. And it's been nonstop reveals about the unbelievable activities of these people, and they've made themselves really clear who they are. Just think about the Macroons. Isn't that fascinating? Just everything that's come out about Starmer. I mean, it's unbelievable. These guys are exposed in every way. Yeah. Anyway, I feel like it's just going to take one little twist, and it'll likely come from the mainstream media that turns everything around, including that alien big situation coming, and it's coming on hot. Think about it. It's not too far off. Okay, so now let's, I wanted to do one more thing here. I want to look at, with the medicine cards going forward, what does the universe need us to, what kind of energies, medicine energies, that's what I mean when I say that. When you use these cards, they're talking archetypes. When they say the word medicine, what flavors to add to your energy, okay, and what to take on energetically, how to approach something. That's a medicine, an energy. Okay, these medicine cards, they speak in totem animal language, I guess. And that language, when I say the word medicine, that's what I mean by it. We're not talking about pharmaceutical medicines, obviously. Okay, medicine is flavor and archetypes and energies to assume the position of, right? So we're asking how to go forward, what medicines to carry with us to get through August, okay? Yeah. All right, did you watch my Zodiac spread? When you're done this, go watch the Zodiac spread. It's up. It was up late last night. For me, it was late last night. For you guys, it might have been early morning. I'm 3 hours behind Eastern time, right? I'm Pacific time. Okay, so let's have a look at how to go forward. So spider web is interesting because it's very creative. We're going to need to be agile. So there's an agility to the spider. And also it's very creative, also weaves in and or takes from so many different places information. Okay, so keep going down those rabbit holes, keep pulling things together with your information, keep weaving the web of your truth, right? Creatively putting back together your belief system, because of course it was all ripped apart, like most people's. If you're like most people's in this community, and I'm not saying all of us were, but a lot of us were really ripped apart. Our whole belief system, or a lot of it, or a large portion of it, was completely dismantled by late 2019, 2020, early 2020, and with the whole pandemic, and realizing that the the government's not our friend. Of course, lots of us knew that anyway, but now we even know the pharmaceutical company's not our friend. Like they're all out to, they were all part of this deep state. And the fact that that was even revealed by then means there's already, I believe, White Hat Alliance has been taking them up down. For that to even come out then, they were exposed. They exposed themselves horribly in that whole lockdown. So I feel like that was because they were pushed to do that, and pushed even to put out the whole pandemic. It was a plan they had, but I think they would have been more devious about it and done it slower and over time and not as obvious. And they were pushed by the White Hat Alliance to do it fast, and they were tricked even into it, or it could have even been released sooner than they would have. Somebody else, it was like somebody triggered it to happen sooner, and they weren't ready, and they had to scramble into their little plan, and then a lot of them were exposed. That's what I think happened. Okay, so here we've got the spider here. So this is weaving that web and pulling it all together, and continue going down those rabbit holes and putting together the information and piecing it all together, because it is quite a web, right? It's a deep web, and it's sometimes hard to understand. So it does take a lot of creative thinking to figure it all out. And this is a boundary card. So going into August with really good boundaries. Okay, the armadillo has good boundaries and also plays dead, okay, when faced with adversary. So if in any way you're like, I feel like roll up and play dead if you get directly confronted by first of all, aliens. Okay, roll over to play dead. I almost feel like, so that has boundaries and pulls all its energy inward and curls up and doesn't interact. Okay, and that's what I was getting. Like, if we do meet actual alien entities, until do not react and or open-heartedly, love and light, okay, because we don't know if they even react well to that. Okay, we don't know. They're so foreign. So there's that. But also this card says maybe it's not quite time to fully come out. That's still a card of boundaries and not necessarily overtly fighting back. That's we're still in that place of maybe letting the Alliance White Hats do the big heavy lifting, okay, and maybe not charging out when something's happening. We're not sure what's happening. Maybe don't charge out into the streets, that kind of thing, okay, because this card has better boundaries than that and actually goes inward and protects itself and its family. Okay, now this is interesting. We've got the owl, so we've become the owl. That's in the past. The owl is seeing in the dark. We've seen in the dark, so we saw what the darkness was up to. We opened our eyes. We got our darks, like our sight in the dark. We can now, like the owl has deceiver feathers, they say. In other words, it can fly in the dark unnoticed and undetected. Okay, so we've done that. We've looked into all of these guys' deep depravity, and we've become the owl. You can't fool the owl. They're deeply intuitive and deeply understanding of all of the layers that happen here on Earth. They're not just delusional that everything's good and everything's happy, and what they don't just listen to what was told to them. Okay, owl medicine people see beyond and see into the dark and see beyond people's what they're saying is true and then what's really true, that sort of thing. So you can't fool owl in any way. We've become that already. Now the squirrel energy in the middle. So this would be the regular folks. They're all still gathering, just like a squirrel. They're gathering the nuts, okay, of the things we already know about. And we're even weaving together the whole story and still staying a little bit protective, maybe. But this card here says, these guys are getting there. It's like the Seven of Pentacles comes to mind when I see that card. They're gathering the intel and the information, and it's gathering on some level, even if they're not admitting it yet. And Weasel, now they can't be fooled. The Weasel absolutely can't be fooled. And, you know, yeah, Weasel. Now we've got some action to take. That this is in the near future. The Weasel is very stealthy. There's something stealthy about it, and goes forth in a stealthy way with what they've learned. So they've learned. These guys are gathering information, but it'll be soon time to go forward with what we know. Okay, and absolutely in a stealthy way, really bring out what we know to regular folks. Now, some of us have been doing that all along. Okay, this is kind of a psyop card in a way. So we may even have to sort of bring psychological techniques in when we're kind of bringing our knowledge forward, just like the White Hat Alliances. And of course, in the dark way, the dark arts people have been doing that to us. Okay, we have to take their techniques and use them for the good. It's like using a tool for the good. We have to take it for our own and use it for the good. That's the way you're going to win this. You're not going to win it by using a totally different approach. I believe that to be true. I have a feeling that's why I was called to look at this stuff, because with my Scorpio moon, I get that. Okay, but some people just can't get that. You know what I mean? They just think it all has to be above board. And if you were all above board, we'd still be totally an enslaved race. Okay, we'd probably all be in, especially us truthers, we'd all be in some kind of lockdown facilities. Instead, the deep state are in those lockdown facilities. We have to be sneaky right back at them. Okay, so here we've got the ant. So there's patience and timing with the ant. So put forward when it's the right time, that's when you're going to come out with what you know, and also come out fighting. Okay, and we've got the lizard. So the lizard all intends and visualizes things. So they seem like they're sleeping, they're incognito until it's ready for them to take action. So it's interesting because in a way the lizard is similar to the weasel, although because both of these are stealthy. This one's stealthy in a non-assuming way, whereas the weasel feels dangerously stealthy. Okay, so I feel like we're going to need stealth going into August for some reason. We're going to need stealth, and we're going to need to be really, really careful. We still need to be careful and with good boundaries. And that brings to mind even what's happening with Kevin Hoyt and his daughter. He's very brave, I know. And being as so after these guys, and I'm not saying he did anything wrong, because I don't believe he did. That's his mission. Okay, but if all of us were doing that, we were walking right into the police station and accusing the top police of their evil acts and covering up things. I don't think it's quite time to do that yet. Okay, as regular folks, I think we still got to leave that to the Alliance and the White Hats. They're still developing the ground, so we can maybe do that. And there's going to come a time, but we still need patience and to be a little stealthy about it still. And how much we know, we got to be a little stealthy about. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching my video. Sending everybody ravens, or do take care going into August here. Do take care. It's fun. All right, let's have a look.
Okay, let me bring my cards up.
Well, I noticed today already Trump's been quoted as saying by his press secretary, she quoted and I shared it, that he said he would deal with Iran in the next week or two. So right. The hotness came off of it, I think. Like he was saying Friday he was going to announce if he's going to be in the war.
Oh, Janine, you're frozen on my end. Hello, hello. Can anybody see either Janine or myself? Can you give us a 5x5? Oh, Hey, Janine.
Hey,
Something
losing
happened there.
Wi-Fi.
Yeah, I lost you there. You were talking about how Trump says that he, in 1 to 2 weeks, will make a decision on Iran. Is that what you were about to say?
Yeah. Now,
Yeah.
for some crazy reason, I'm doing a zodiac here, and I didn't even plan to. So
Okay.
I'm just going to keep doing it because that's a
Cool.
good way to look at like this will be a kind of a big read, but let's have a look.
Oh, wow.
It's going to be huge. Yeah. Are you okay with that, or
We had a No,
should I?
I'm totally okay with that. And
Yeah.
be forewarned, everybody, there's some kind of special energy going on because sorry to stop your flow there for a second, Janine, but we had some pretty crazy things come up in our viewers' question show today. So
Yeah.
I'm very intrigued. If you guys have not catch that yet, you can go check that out. So very intrigued to see what's going to come up in today's show.
So this is a zodiac. That's what I do when I do a zodiac. And for some reason, I just automatically did a zodiac. So I'm going to go with it, you guys. So I'm not going to get too involved in the zodiac, like the logistics of it. It's a layout. It's a big complex layout. So I'm just going to read what I'm getting it saying, but I'm not
Yeah.
going to explain because usually I go around the zodiac and explain, but that takes about 45 minutes to an hour.
Wow.
Sometimes 30 minutes. Yeah. So we're going to do it the short version, and I'm going to read what I get. So if you're feeling like you wanted more explanation, go on over to Tarot by Janine, and I do my zodiac once a month, and I do explain it all that in that zodiac spread. But here we've got the Six of Swords. So this is how we're behaving and how we're feeling. So we just got clarity. I feel like even Trump saying that. So the heat came off the whole Iran
Mhm.
situation. And I'm not sure. I don't want to misspeak or say the wrong country.
Mhm.
But so the heat for that. And then here, but there's still a lot of people out there, probably a lot of people that maybe don't watch shows like this and don't follow all the tweets and sort of posts that Trump makes, are probably still really worried that there's going to be this big third world war. They just
Right.
don't realize we're in one. We've been in one for years. Okay.
Mhm.
Now here, this is around the financial situation. Very interesting cards here. This is like brilliant. I always read these across from each other. So
Yeah.
one clarifies the other. Goes like that, right? So the Ace of Pentacles, that's in the house of Taurus, is saying that we're in better financial shape, even though we might not be seeing it in our bank accounts yet or literally in our countries yet. But the world is there's something being offered here that's sovereign and gives us less overreach by the government financially. And in the next year, we're really going to benefit from that. So I'm going to just say that. That's the
Wow.
short version of what that says there. Now we're going to get the Emperor here. This is in what's being spoken, talked about, what's in the media, what is there on everybody's mind, and what's everybody talking about. Now, I have noticed this in the last couple of years. It's really ramped up, but Trump's in the news and he's got all of the attention of the media. Even if it appears negative, he has all the attention. Think about it. Things are not, everything revolves around Trump. All the news does, right? And you might think I'm wrong about that, but really look and lace it back. It'll all somehow lace back to Trump. But I believe it laces back to the White Hat Alliance. So I'm going to go with Trump being the brand of the White Hat Alliance. And I feel like that's by design. Okay, that's by design. And even the bad press, they're wanting all eyes on because big reveals are happening. He's revealing really big things and taking us. So he's the front of the White Hat Alliance. He's taking us in new territory. Okay, so watch his tweets and things like even today, and even in the funny one that ill Trump. I can never say the parody tweets of his.
Mm-hmm.
Little Trumpito or whatever it's called. Can't remember what the name of that account is, but it is actually Trump, and or it's managed by the White Hat Alliance. Let's say that, because I doubt if it's literally Trump sitting there saying those things. I feel like it's all like a great big rollout in a big theater. Like we got a big theater thing going on, and he has a lot of help putting these tweets out. Okay, that's my opinion, and that's just what I've seen in the cards. But this looks like that's by design, because he's going to be posting things that are absolute truth. And like we already had the one about Obama, all roads lead to Obama. Today they were saying things about, like, they've been on Hillary today. And there was and I shared it. Yeah, it was about, hey, if Iran keeps, acting up, basically, we're going to send in our best hitman, Hillary. Yeah. So, and then there was quite a few things said about Hillary's, I get, what is it called? Suicide count, or what do they call that?
The Clinton body count. Isn't that what it is?
Sorry. Yeah, my brain just can't come up with the words today, but yeah, the Clinton body count. So keep your eyes on what he's tweeting and what he's putting out, posting on Truth Social, because all the truths are going to be dropped there. He's dropping them, and it's ramping up, you guys. Okay, so that's why they want all eyes on him, even if they're using a little trickery to get you to pay attention to what he's doing. Hillary, exactly what that person said, Hillary. Okay, so here we've got the 8. Now, this is in the home place, so in the root and what grounds us right now. Okay, things are starting to pile up. They don't really make entirely sense unless you're really looking and you're really trying to lace it all together. But this card says they're working up to lacing it all together. And I feel like July, August is so we're still in the dropping big truth bombs, and even in July, August, they could be doing that. But I feel like they start lacing it together a little better for us, and maybe late August, September, October, really big reveals have already happened. Maybe they say by October, or I'm thinking by October, we've really got most of the goods out in the public, and his tweets are leading the way. That's what it looks like. Okay, I mean, it was even like Kash Patel even like was in some big sessions in the last couple of days while all this stuff's going on about Iran and Israel. And they literally, the leader of the FBI, or the director, is saying, Kash Patel is saying, 2020 was a stolen election. Like it's literally spoken. It's said, it's proven. It's not just in our truther community. So even if they choose to ignore it, the mainstream media, that's a ploy too somehow. I feel like that's a way we out the mainstream media by, because I think they're puppeted by the White Hat Alliance. So it's pretty complex. But this card says a lot of it starts lacing together now this summer, where it starts to make more sense. We're building up. There's a lot of building up and truth dropping, and then it starts to get really, we start tying things together here. Here we've got the Lovers across. So this is incoming. Okay. And the 6. So a lot of what you're going to see Trump doing is, even though he looked like he was like, ready to go to war with that Iran supreme leader or whatever, and he was saying kind of mean things about him. Then all of a sudden he's ready to be friendly with them. Right. He's like, I think we can make some kind of a deal. Maybe we can sit down in the White House. Like this, you're going to see this time and again. And I feel like we're moving towards a lot of peace deals. I feel like, and I feel like all of these deals have been done, and we're just seeing them play out literally like a play. So the deals have been done. So these are deals made. These are shaking hands in the background. These are political deals made, and they're right across from each other. We're going to see a lot of that, and a lot of alliances, and they've already been formed, and a lot of capitulation already happened too. And that happened like way back, 2016, 2017, when he did the capitulation tour. That's when that happened. right? And then now we're seeing, they're outing that there's a lot of these deals already forged. Okay, so here we've got the 10 of Pentacles, and it's across from the Hierophant. So this is in our daily routine. Okay, so that's interesting. So it can talk about health. It can talk about what you do daily. And the 10 of Pentacles is a lot of people or everybody or something that involves the whole population. So that's interesting. And we've got the Hierophant, all eyes on a really big outing of, because that's the secretive house of Pisces, the 12th house, and it's across from the 6th. So everyone's going to know who the enemy is. And I feel like that's coming this summer. So we already know, but everybody else is. They're being educated. It's sitting back there somewhere. And one by one, all of these people are clicking it into place. But there's things that are going to happen between now and I'd say October that already get everybody up to speed on who have we really been at war with? Who's your real enemy? Who's been oppressing everybody? Who are these elites that run the world? The true deep state and Khazarian mafia and all of those names we call them, they're going to be outed by then and everybody's going to know.
Right.
Okay. And then this card, we clarify this would be the house of the 7th house of sort of relationships and important relationships. And because we're asking a big world question, okay, we're not talking about individual people's relationships. We're more talking about sort of what's going on politically in the world, because of course that's all eyes are on that right now. And this was saying already that we're already moving out of troubled water politically. And things are being outed nonstop. 6 of Swords, a whole bunch of information is coming out. And there's going to be a lot of fear porn. Okay, but this card doesn't manifest into the things you're fearing. Not when it's aspected with this really good card. Okay, so a lot of fear porn, but then it ends up being, okay, we'll just have a talk in the White House and let's figure this out. Because they've already done the deals. Okay, they're just showing you what's going on, but it's not really like, even though people are saying, okay, they're filming bombings and everything. Okay, like they can fake a lot of that. Okay, and they can, and not to say it's all fake, but they can also create, like use people to create the whole scene around it. They've had, like when it was the fake pandemic stuff, they were in hospitals in triage rooms, which you're not allowed to do film in triage rooms, and they were filming, and it was all crises actors and dummies on the tables and everything, and that all got discovered. Okay, so we don't know really what they're doing. Yeah, bombs are going off. Okay, but are they literally hitting the targets they're saying they are? Do we have a lot of theater with that? We don't know. Okay, and again, and people have been chiming in and telling me, okay, there's some YouTuber that's filming it all. Okay, keep letting us know what's going on there, because these cards are suggesting that we got a lot of foolery here. Okay, or it's not exactly as it seems. So
yeah, and the mix. Can I just chime in quickly there, Janine? Because as this all went down the past week, we've got Jupiter in an exact square to Neptune, and those are the 2 rulers of Pisces in square, which is about lies and illusions, and it's not exactly what we're seeing here. So again, not to say there aren't things happening in Iran, but we're not seeing the whole picture. Yeah. Right. It's a time where there isn't the full clarity. So being mindful of that. Sorry to interrupt you, Janine.
No, and I really appreciate that. Like, you're exactly right what you're saying. Okay, so here we've got the 9. So we were talking about this. This is the 8th house of Scorpio, and it's across from the 2nd house of Taurus. And look at these 2 cards. So around what you value. So we're going to really come to terms with our true value. Certain, I feel like certain metals are going to come to into their true value. Gold's going to be revalued. Silver's going to be revalued. Copper's going to be revalued. These things are going to be revalued. And there's a lot less. So in the next next year, because ACE is in the next year, a lot less intervention by big governments and or government overreach, that because we're going to be more sovereign financially. But this will take a year still, and there's still some fear porn to go through and scary
Right.
moments. It's not we're not done the scary stuff yet. Okay, but keep the big picture though when you're feeling fearful. That's what I would say. And this is the house of Sag. So that's that. The house of Sag is about philosophies and how you think in a really in the big sense. How do you think about the world? How do you think about other people? How do you think about people in places far away? Right. The house of Sag can be about world travel, etc. I feel like being like there's going to be some restrictions around world travel, or some reasons why you need to give it, be cautious and look out there. It doesn't say don't world travel, and it doesn't say you can't world travel, but I feel like really have a look at what's going on in the place you're planning on going, and just be really intuitive about it before you make your plan.
Yeah.
And then in the future, and I feel like by this time next year, that sort of thing, I feel like we'll be doing a lot more travel, and there's going to be all kinds of new ways to achieve travel. So I feel like we've got new modalities of travel that could be really exciting. We're in all new territory there.
Wow.
And our philosophies about things have really changed. So a lot of people with strict sort of are following doctrines and really strict, have really limited ideas around really, limiting ideas around how the world works. We're in all new territory because a lot of these ideas are going to they're going to crumble, like a lot of these big religions, we're discovering that a lot of them were infiltrated, maybe even created to enslave and repress people. And so people are going to be going in spiritual directions that are all new. And I feel like your best bet on that is go from a place of hearing and listening to your own inner voice. That's the real spiritual growth. Just listen to your higher voice. It's in you. You don't have to seek out goddess, energy, the universe, whatever you want to call it. It lives in you. It's the voice in you. We're all lit up by it. That's our light. But anyway, so a lot of people are going to go in new directions and go out of structured things, the structured ideas of governments, the structured ideas of how things are supposed to be in the world. And they're going to move in new directions and start forging new ways. So there's a lot of newness coming in with that card. And we're in all new territory. So it's going to be fascinating, but a little confusing sometime. This jumps us up by this time next year. So this is the house of Capricorn. So it's like, where are you going to be by this time next year? And that card is amazing. I feel like our world is even on the mend from any kind of harm that a lot of the poisoning big corporations have been doing. The chemtrails have been doing. I feel like we're like on our way to having a healthier world and healthier bodies to reflect that. Like she's abundant, healthy, creative. Yeah. Humanity's moving into a good definitely in a good direction with that card there. Now here we've got the 6 of Cups. We were talking about that across 2 sixes across from each other. Quite interesting. And this is the 11th house of Aquarius. So it's about groups, gatherings, like strangers. It talks about the new ideas of Aquarius, the open-mindedness of Aquarius, but also about how do you feel about groups? How important are group? Like this is a group listening to this. We got the Truther group. We've got, all kinds of different things that some people get together in their church group. Some people get together in their friend groups. Like it's about those kind of gatherings of like-minded peoples. How important is it to you? I feel like that's going to be like gathering in groups of like-minded people. I feel like is going to be a really something that'll happen a lot more than it has been. I found that when I lived in Calgary for all the years I lived there, it was, and then the little short time I lived in Vancouver, you didn't know any of your neighbors really. I know some
Mm.
people get to know their neighbors, but certainly I didn't really. And some, and I had some really difficult neighbors in Calgary for sure. Some of the places I lived, but it was very difficult to even want to get to know your neighborhood. Sometimes it was just like, I guess, the climate of the world or something. But I feel like that's really changing. I think we're going to want to get together in like-minded groups, and there's going to be a lot more need for it because a lot of people will be discussing the new philosophies or their philosophical ideas. They're busting out of really maybe old ideas about how things should be socially, and realizing that we were really a lot of those ideas were formulated by the deep state.
Yeah.
And we were fooled, like with different rock bands, different musical groups, like you and I were looking at with Michael Jackson. He was even saying we were spell cast. Different musical groups, genres, and also dances, as he was saying.
Yeah.
So as those spells lift and we're not under those spells and those energies are dissipating, things are going to be different, and we're going to have more freedom to really creatively find our own way in those ways, and find our group again, find our in various groups depending on who you are. Find each other. We're going to find each other. And I think there'll be more need to get together, like in groups again, like physically, literally come together. I'm kind of looking forward to that.
Me too, definitely.
Yeah. It's been kind of lonely, over the lockdown years and everything.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is the deep unconscious, and something from your higher self wants to tell you a big secret. It's like, who's the enemy? The deep state. Who's the big secrets of the deep state, exposing them. These guys are getting exposed. They're that's what shining all of that light on them is what's killing them, because they don't take too kindly to that. That's not wasn't what they're not comfortable with that. They do everything in the dark and secretive, and yeah. It's obviously there's a lot of shame and guilt, but they have some way of bystepping feeling any of it. I guess, I don't know. Just the disgusting things they do to children and humans and each other and themselves, and it's disgusting. This energy has to get cleaned up. We got to clean it up. Okay, so I'm going to pull one more right in the middle. Big ace. Yeah, all new energy. We're like we're going in new directions. We're going in, and things are really in a creative spot right now. So it's important for people to recognize that their consciousness, bring your awareness and consciousness to the present, because you're creating the future as we speak, think.
Oh my God. What a spread, Janine. Oh my goodness.
That's so sorry. I didn't mean to do that. Like, it was just
no, don't be sorry. That was totally meant to be. And we've got two aces there. And I find it so interesting that all the work houses, second house, sixth house, 10th house, all either pentacles or the Empress, right? It's all about abundance. And then the other money house opposite the second house, 8th house of Scorpio, which is more like hidden money, investments, inheritances, another pentacle. And that makes sense with some of the things I want to share with you astrologically going into the summer, and also makes sense in the year ahead. This is a huge portal of opportunity for abundance in our gifts when we're aligned with our heart. And I think it's really coming through in the zodiac. So, wow, that's like, there's nothing to fear. That makes me feel like.
I love it. And I'll just say one more thing about the eighth house. So it's also rules all things Scorpio, so deep
Right.
spiritual energies. It's very independent. So becoming more independent spiritually. In other words, looking inward and following your own soul essence and voice, as opposed to doctrines and being told how to be spiritually. Nobody can tell anybody else how to be spiritually. That
No.
doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, for sure. No. And people are mind blown in the chat. Gabby says, that was fantastic. I will be replaying this. Wow. Yeah, I'll definitely be replaying that as well. Crypto Blonde Janine, what a great poll. Yeah, thank you, Janine. And that's part of it too, following the natural energies. You just naturally started to do a zodiac spread. So, okay, that's in perfect timing. Amazing. So, okay, can we move on to something else?
Please.
So
Yeah.
this is very interesting. So JC kind of created the slide deck here for me to fill in his shoes, and he wanted us to take a look at some Iran questions. So this is interesting. It's being reported that supposedly if Iran collapses, the regime officials likely will flee to Canada, as if it can't get more weird for Canada, right? It's being reported in the National Post. It's being reported in the Toronto Sun. Toronto Sun is saying hundreds of the Ayatollah's people already in Canada and more hoping to sneak in. Can we do a little read on, is this accurate or is this a nothing burger? Are we actually going to see the regime of Iran in Canada?
That is fascinating. Already happened.
Oh my
See
God.
that ace? So yes, in the past it already happened. So that must mean if we look, we would find that a lot of these people already came here, or there's a huge communities of people from Iran.
Right.
Maybe that's what it's saying. But yeah, they're already here. Okay, so like I'm saying, everything's in like retrospect. It's like we're looking back and then it's playing out as if it's in real time. It's fascinating. So see that 10 in the, that's a facade card. Okay, so I think if people really woke up to who's actually come to Canada, I feel like now they're pointing a finger at and getting you to look and go down the rabbit holes. How many people from Iran have come to Canada, and how many of them might have been in that group that they mentioned, or from the leadership peoples? I don't know. Like it seems to me it's saying it already happened. So yes, but it already happened. That's how I'll answer that.
Wow. Wild. Okay. Yeah, it's so trippy how there's so many things that have already happened, but we're watching it play out in real time. So, okay, also having to do with Iran, we had, I think this was today. I can't even keep up. Was this today or yesterday? I don't even know. President Trump announces there is a substantial chance for negotiations with Iran. This is the White House press briefing with Carolyn Levitt. We'll just play a little clip of this from today.
The ongoing situation in Iran. I know there has been a lot of speculation amongst all of you in the media regarding the president's decision-making and whether or not the United States will be directly involved. In light of that news, I have a message directly from the president, and I quote, "Based on the fact that there's a substantial chance of negotiations that may or may not take place with Iran in the near future, I will make my decision whether or not to go within the next 2 weeks." That's a quote directly from the president for all of you today. So we'll kick the ongoing situation in Iran.
Wow. So we're shifting gears over here. 1 second, it's making it seem like, oh my God, we're going into World War III, go into your bunker. And then the next day, it's, oh, actually, we're going to do a 2-week pause. And we're going to see if we can do negotiations like you were getting in the cards, right, Janine?
Yeah.
Could we pull on the next 2 weeks specifically? We're still in this solstice energy. We're in the last little bit of June, beginning of July. Could we possibly pull a 7-card pull on this, Janine, for the next 2 weeks? Is that okay?
Sure.
Okay, awesome.
Interesting. The Empress in the past, that is very strange. I'm going to have to pull a clarifier on why that would be there.
That's interesting because we just got her for the future in the zodiac spread. Is that correct?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
Okay, so past, present, near future. So you're talking about the next 2 weeks.
Next 2 weeks, yeah.
Well, none of this looks like war.
Okay.
Go like right now, everything got okay. We'll give it we're just going to cool it off. Okay, and then it gets more intellectual, so they're going to talk about things. Now, all of this is just what they're showing you. I don't think this all happened already. That's what's so confused. Like they're saying that, but it's all like they're just putting out news. They had it all planned, you guys. This is all just playing out. That's why the cards can even pick up on it. Like they planned this all out. Okay, so see the 3 of Pentacles there? The 3 of Pentacles is they're going to get together. They might even get together. There could even be 3 of them. So I feel like he'll get Israel, Iran, and himself to sit down, or he'll somehow forge something between those 3. There's 3 people involved here, or 3 countries.
Interesting.
So like he's going to be known as the big peace president, really, just like he said he would. And everybody's like, see, I don't know. People are funny. Like when he does all that huff and puff stuff, it's just a big show to get, like everybody on page or to pay attention to what he's saying. Right. He's not really. And he always backs down off the big huff and puff.
We've been seeing that. Sorry to interrupt you, but with the tariffs over and over again. Oh, we're about to slap you with 100% tariffs. And then last minute, no, gets taken back.
Yeah, it's a ploy. It's I guess the art of war or something. I don't know. I haven't read The Art of War. I think I better read it. You know what I mean? So then we've got this is the hidden influence. We've got the 4 of Pentacles. Okay, so the 4 of Pentacles waits. Okay, and also like holds on to something. So it's like a waiting and even like buying time. I even feel like there could be a buying time. There also could be something they're waiting on financially with that because there's pentacles and they're holding on to them. So they could be waiting on something to shift or something to move or something to happen financially that they already sort of put out in and into motion. And then it'll come to fruition. So they could be waiting for something there. Okay. And that's why things get hot and then they get backed off because meanwhile, there's all these military actions going on. I guess we're in the art of war, right? Okay. So here we've got, this is something to pay attention to. We've got the 9. So it could ramp up again. Okay, with that card. So you could get that war talk again in the next 2 weeks. Okay, but really it'll always come back to with strength, and Trump will keep the whole thing will revolve around him. Why is it that every single country in the whole world recently, why isn't anyone questioning this, is always referring back to Trump? It's like he's already orchestrating everything in the whole world. And I believe it's the White Hat Alliance that is. Like nobody seems to be questioning that. Like everything, just all world news, Trump's like at the center of it. It's fascinating. Anyway, so here we've got the strength card. That could just be that it's because of the truther news does seem to revolve around Trump. Maybe I'm just off on that one.
I think you're right, Janine. I think you're right, because I see it on the normie news. It's all good press and bad press, and it's all the time.
Yeah. Okay, so then now we've got the strength card. So in strength, he'll always keep the strong position. He's always going to stay really, really strong and firm, but it will ramp up and then cool down again. And then they'll all sign a peace deal or something, because what we really want will happen, which is what Tucker Carlson says. Oh, well, like all of a sudden all these guys were throwing him under the bus. But I think that's just to remind you that, by the way, Tucker Carlson and all of those guys, they've all been on the other side. Okay, they're all capitulated, and likely actors. It's probably not the real Tucker, you know what I mean? But he's been really good lately. But he's still this person is still a capitulated person who came across over to Trump because he probably knew he was on the wrong side of things. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're all of these people. So I feel like them doing that and throwing them under the bus and everything, even when Elon did, it's reminding you, pay attention. All of these guys are compromised.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And they could redeem themselves, and or maybe they're being arm twisted too. But just don't put anyone on a pedestal. Nobody's your hero, idol. Nobody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
So something really good's going to come out of it, and it's not going to be war, according to the cards. Okay, so it hasn't even been about that. I feel like they're going to actually show you that they have a huge peace deal with all these countries already. And I think it happened quite a while ago. Like, I've been getting that Israel wasn't what you thought it was. Even a year ago, I was getting that.
Right.
And that Netanyahu guy, that's an actor. And he's playing with the White House. Yeah, it is strange.
It's so strange. It's like, what the heck?
See that? There's a strategy. They're just being really strategic to get everybody watching the whole scenario, and then have a big breakthrough. And guess who's going to be at the root of the big breakthrough? Trump.
Well, what you're saying, Janine, lines up with the astrology. I also don't think we're going to have this crazy World War III. And I think there's going to actually be some very beautiful things happening this summer, as we're going to get into. But first, did you say everything you wanted to say there with that spread? Okay, awesome. We've got a special guest on the show tonight, and it is none other than Jens. Hello, Jens. How's it going?
Hi, everybody. I'm good. If you see a tail popping up, Shia is on my lap, so...
All of us have our kitties. Magical people, we need our kitties around. I've been cuddling with our cats so much lately. Like you said, Janine, they've just been so helpful with the energies and transmuting everything that's going on. How have you been feeling, Jens, with the current energies and craziness? How have you been taking care of yourself, just like feeling overall?
I'm feeling pretty good, and actually what I was feeling is that there's a lot of happening on the world stage, of course, as you guys obviously talked about, with the Iran thing, but I feel there's also a lot of positive energy coming in, and I don't know if it's also related to the summer solstice that is so close now. I mean, it's getting the days are so long here now because it's almost the 21st, the longest day of the year. It's crazy how, last night, now it's too late, of course, now it's like almost 3:00 at night in Belgium, but I saw daylight like until, midnight, which is crazy. So I feel a lot of positive energy coming in, actually.
That's amazing. Yeah, I also feel the same, but it's so interesting. I was sharing on a show the other day, Janine, I don't think I told you this. I had a moment a few days ago where I totally went into the fear. Sometimes it happens, and I just had a moment. I was like, oh my God, we're about to go nuclear. It's all going to fall apart. And I was just like being a crazy Scorpio in fetal position on the couch. And Jens, my Sagittarius husband, was like, what the hell's wrong with you? Everything's fine. Relax. So it's so important, And that was affecting me because I was listening to kind of some negative people, and then one thing leads to another. We need to be so mindful what we're taking in during these times, because it is a lot of energy. And I feel like we can manifest things a lot quicker, whether that's positive or negative. Are you guys feeling that too? Janine, is that something that you're noticing?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
And Jens, are you noticing that too? Like if you believe something or you think something, it's manifesting a lot quicker?
Yeah, I think it has been happening for years. Actually, I've been feeling that because we're getting into these. If you compare the times now, comparing to the '90s, for example. I mean, I was still quite young then, but or the early 2000s. Things are just shifting so much faster, and there's definitely a huge shift happening. Yeah, like the feeling of time speeding up, right? Everybody says like time is just flying, and
Mm-hmm.
I feel it like when I do a show for Real Mystic. I'm all like, oh my God, it's Wednesday again. It's just great. It feels like what used to feel like a week feels like a day almost. It's crazy.
Yeah, it really does. And I'd love to share with you guys a little bit of the astrology that we've got going on. We are filming on the eve of the summer solstice. And of course, that's in the northern hemisphere. If you're in the southern hemisphere, it's the winter solstice. So happy solstice, everyone. And our solstices are very special times where the veils are very thin between worlds. We do go through energetic upgrades, and it's great times to be doing manifesting and cleansing work as well. The summer solstice in particular, it's the longest day of the year, of course, and it's our natural time in the northern hemisphere to celebrate the light, also celebrate the sun, love, and abundance in all its forms. So interesting. I don't know if you saw it, Jens, but before you came on, Janine did this amazing zodiac spread at the beginning of the show, and there was a bunch of pentacle cards coming through, which, yes, can indicate abundance, through monetary means, but I feel like, and correct me if I'm wrong, Janine, but it's not just the abundance of money, it's also the abundance of all kinds of resources, food, shelter, clothing, the pleasures and enjoyments of life, right? So it's not just about money, even though, of course, we need money at this time to survive. Abundance in all forms. It's a good time to celebrate that. Now, this solstice is extremely special because in Western astrology, the summer solstice is exactly when the sun enters 0 degrees of Cancer, and we enter Cancer season. Cancer season, of course, is the time of year that rules home, family, our ancestors. Jens is actually going to be hosting perfect timing. I don't think you even planned it, Jens, with the Cancer season, but you're going to be hosting this ancestral healing meditation next Tuesday. Why? I'll just pause on what I was saying astrologically. Why do you feel this is important to be bringing up at this time and sharing with everybody?
Well, there's multiple levels to it, of course. First is the personal level, because we all carry, like usually when people go into their healing, they at a certain point they start also looking at their childhood and healing their childhood on a healing journey. Because we all, if you're, I believe if you're incarnated on this earth, we all have healing to do at some point in our lives. Because we I don't think there's maybe a very, very few souls on this earth who don't have healing to do on this earth, because it's just part of the journey. But when you go beyond that, also, what is also good is to look beyond it, because of course, if you talk about our ancestors, our parents are our direct ancestors. So there's obviously for a lot of people a lot of healing to be done around that. But there's also the influence of our grandparents, and also our other ancestors in the energy. So our further ancestors in the energy that's imprinting through our DNA, through the consciousness. Because DNA is, of course, mainstream science says it just carries our, the blueprint of our physical body, but it's a lot more than that. It carries, it carries the patterns, it carries energies, it carries, stored emotions, also associated with energy. So, we can also have imprints from that kind of can limit us. For example, we can hold limiting beliefs about, for example, resources. Just to give an example, if there is, like, for example, had been a war, for example, for the ancestors, and they really had no food, that imprinting, that lack mentality, for example, or it can limit your abundance if you have imprints from from your ancestors that went through, for example, famine. And actually, when I did my first when I did this the first time, I felt a lot of things coming up actually, and I was really surprised at how much I felt. I can expand a little bit more on that if you want me to, but I don't want to stop you from doing your astrology thing first, or
No, you can expand on that.
yeah. So what I was feeling is that so as we have 2 parents and we have 4 grandparents, and each of our grandparents has 2 parents. So it's like it's called something. The mathematical minds who are watching this will recognize this as exponential growth. So it becomes very big very quickly. So at a certain point, it has to collapse. So it can grow, because if you would, for example, go back only 100 generations, you would have more people as ancestors than had ever lived. So what it means is that we're all related in some way, and that's how that exponential growth actually slows down. And what I was feeling in the meditation, and this is something historians call the pedigree collapse. So where you share actually common ancestors, so that exponential growth, because each person having 2 parents cannot go on forever.
Right.
And I was feeling that in the meditation, so I only looked it up afterwards, and I found confirmation for what I was feeling psychically, and I felt it like staying really wide. That pyramid, because it's like an inverted pyramid, right? You have 2, then you have 4, then you have 8, so it goes like this. And I felt it going really wide up until like Roman and Egyptian times, and then I felt it really like condensing into a few streams. And I felt just intuitively, I knew that it was like from Atlantis, because with the fall of Atlantis, there was like this catastrophe that happened, that only a few human lines actually survived. And so that was very interesting to me. And I also found then when I went back into the pyramid, I found like there was a lot of Viking DNA, a Viking influence, and which is normal, because I'm from European descent, and the Vikings around the 10th, and I felt around the 10th and 11th century, a lot of Viking influence that got infused in the DNA, and the Viking energy felt really, kind of rough and very, bit warlike and masculine, very masculine, which makes sense. And then I also felt like imprints from the 17th century, which were about famine and war that happened in Europe. So that was very interesting to me. So I do want to share that with the people, because I'm going to guide you through it, but you're going to work with your own psychic perceptions that you get from doing the meditation, and you can learn a lot from it, and also you can redo this meditation afterwards if you want, and the more consciousness you bring to it, the more you can be released from these imprints, which helps us. And so that's the personal side. The other side of it is that the elites, they use these traumas, collective traumas that we have. They know that we have them, and they use them to manipulate us. For example, you saw that during the pandemic, is they used the threat for scarcity, like people running for. I don't know if that was in Canada and the US, people running for toilet paper, but that was the case in Europe.
Yeah,
that was I don't never get that one. That was just ridiculous. And people hoarding food. So they play into trauma. The elites, the dark forces, play into trauma to manipulate us. So in this way, also this ancestral healing meditation can help to shed more light onto that, to be less susceptible to those manipulations.
Janine, have you ever done ancestral healing work of any sort?
Well, maybe not directly, but it is fascinating. What Jens is saying makes so much sense. It's like, wow, I'm bringing up just mind blown. I'm getting mind blown. It just opens up so many things, and so many ways to look at what's happened in my past and people I know in the past. But I do know a lot of people who work with that kind of healing. So I completely, I've heard of it, and I've done some regression work, but not very directly a meditation on healing ancestral wounds or whatever. So it does sound like something that probably I'd like to do, to be honest.
Yeah,
it's fascinating.
It is fascinating, and Jens is very, very good and gifted at guiding the meditations over on the Beyond Mystic Academy. So if you want to sign up for that, it'll be live next Tuesday at 1 p.m. But there's also the replay, and you get unlimited access to listen to it. And I'll share, when I first started my spiritual awakening journey, I was, only connecting to the galactics and my spirit guides and these like higher beings. And I wasn't even taking very good care of my body. And then when I got more into shamanism, a lot of that has to do with the ancestors and my Celtic shamanic lineage. And wow, there was huge things that came up for me when I started to do ancestral healing. We not only have the soul lineage, we also have the physical lineage of our literal blood and physical DNA. And we do hold those things. And some traditions say even we hold it back 7 generations, certain traumas. So I think it's very important work and totally in alignment with the astrology, with us being in Cancer season, which is all about home and family. And it's not a normal Cancer season, you guys, very special Cancer season, because it's our first Cancer season in 12 years that we've got the Sun and Jupiter in Cancer together. And what makes this summer solstice so special, which also the chart of the summer solstice shows the energy of the whole summer ahead. Why I'm so excited is because we have the most positive aspect in astrology, Sun conjunct Jupiter on the solstice, which is with us for the whole summer. With Sun conjunct Jupiter, Mars sextile Jupiter, Moon exactly sextile the Sun. These are very positive aspects that are showing us that this season ahead is actually going to bring great positive breakthroughs for all of humanity. It's very rare to get all those kinds of like most positive aspects in astrology together. And Jupiter in Cancer is expanding the Cancer influence. So guys, if you do ancestral healing work, even just spending time with your family, having in-depth conversations with your family, if there's been issues with your family this Cancer season or this whole summer season ahead, there can be huge breakthroughs. We can move through huge hurdles or fights that we've been going through. I know a lot of us in our like-minded community, there's been some issues with family members. I know I've definitely been going through that. I think, have you guys been going through that at all too? Just different perspectives, things going on. So we all know about that. So yeah, it's a very special solstice chart with also the dispositor of the Sun in Cancer. So what the heck that means is, because Cancer is the sign that the Sun is in at the time of solstice, it's important to look at the ruler of Cancer, which is the Moon. Exactly at the solstice is 0 degrees of Taurus. The Moon is exalted in Taurus. She loves to be there. 0 degree, the strongest degree. So Janine, there's so much showing in the cards and also the astrology: abundance, resources, positivity, enjoyment.
That's why the Empress came up.
That's why the Empress came up.
She's
So
pregnant with abundance and could be a Cancer woman. Absolutely. Or even a Taurus Cancer combo. Like she could be all of them. She could be she's the divine feminine.
That is so cool. Wow. And I think I talked last time, a couple of weeks ago when I was on the show, Janine, about how we're having this very rare triple planetary aspect combination as well at the time of solstice that'll actually be exact later in the summer. Very, very special. Pluto, Neptune, and Uranus all in exact positive aspects. There, in my personal astrological opinion, there's not going to be a crazy nuclear war with these kind of positive aspects. This is showing actually blessings and breakthroughs, moving past barriers into the ascension process. So that's my personal take. But also at the same time, okay, we do have to share the good with the challenging. There are intense aspects in the solstice chart, including Saturn conjunct Neptune and the Sun-Jupiter conjunction in a square to the Saturn-Neptune conjunction. So these aspects indicate that structures of life in the matrix system are dissolving fast. Saturn and Neptune and Aries at an Aries degree is things happening fast, right? We saw with this whole war ramp up, that happened very fast, right? So things will be dissolving, coming up very fast. And at the same time, issues between countries, the sign of Cancer rules countries, all coming up to the surface at the same time, which may be very overwhelming, but I do think there will be some breakthroughs. So we will see about that. What else do we want to bring up, you guys? Anything coming to mind? Oh, also, I wanted to share. Where is this here? I have so many freaking slides. Sorry, you guys. Bear with me one sec. I was going to bring up something about cliff highs, spike in emotional values. I think there's a big spike. JC wanted me to bring that up the first week of July. Is that something that you've taken a look at yet, Janine? That spike in emotional value we have?
I don't think I literally read on it. I can't remember. John Claude and I read on lots of things, but I certainly have seen that July, August, September, and October just have their own huge, crazy, each one. And there could be events, even really big world events. Kind of like what we were talking about. We were talking about a real natural one for December in our last show we just did earlier today. Yeah. But I feel like there's events coming this summer too that are more maybe orchestrated White Hat Alliance, maybe not natural events.
Definitely. So, oh my God, we're getting to the hour mark of the show. And you guys, we have some giveaways before we finish up here. We're going to do a giveaway from Ascension Organites, also Floraline soaps, and the Scorpling Shop from Sunny and I. So Carla, a team over at Ascension Organites, have these awesome EMF hats available, protection with purpose. There's a limited quantity available, so you can go check those out at Ascension Organites. And who wants to come up with a question for the audience members first for a giveaway? Jens, do you have a question for the audience members for someone to win an EMF hat?
Sure. Maybe for the viewers who are very attentive, paid attention. When did I say that the Vikings were spreading over Europe?
Oh my God, I don't even remember that. When did you say that the Vikings were spreading over Europe?
Yes.
Okay, here we go. Who was paying attention? We'll let the chat populate. And that's so interesting that you felt that there was Vikings in your DNA. Do you want to let me know in the personal chat what the answer is so I know when we look at the comments?
All right, I'll let you know.
Yeah.
I think
that's a pretty hard. That's a hard Sagittarius question, Yenzi. Oh my God, you're going like really deep into the history. Okay, let's see what you put. Oh, okay. I think there's been some people getting it. Okay, there's some people getting it. So let's see here. We'll go through and tell me when to stop.
Stop.
Okay. Liz Nugent got 1100th century. Is that the right way to say it? 11th century?
The 11th century. 10th and 11th century. Correct, yeah. Okay,
congratulations, Liz. Please email us over at beyondmystic.net under the customer support tab, and we will get that out to you. Congratulations on winning an EMF hat from Ascension Organites. And next, we're going to give away some soaps, beautiful soaps from FloralineFarm.ca. Janine, do you have a question for the audience members for someone to win a pack of soaps?
I do. What was in the second house in the zodiac across from the Nine of Pentacles? What card was in the second house and they aspected each other? In the zodiac, the first spread I did.
So what card was in the second house?
Yeah, so it was ruled by, the Taurus house, the second card down in my zodiac.
Okay, you guys, who is paying attention? It's always fun on Rumble. We got lots of people live in the chat. Okay, we have some people getting it. And Janine, let me know when to stop. Lots of people. Stop. Scene Lady says the Empress.
No.
Oh, it's not the one.
Read my notes.
Oh,
so the second house, the second card down.
Oops, I was getting it confused. Okay, the second house, second card down.
So
okay,
we got the house. We talked about it like.
Okay, sorry, you guys. Sorry, Scene Lady. We'll get one out for you too. Send us an email and we'll get one out for you too, Scene Lady. Okay, Janine, tell me when to stop. Okay, Sassy 1791. Congratulations. Ace of Pentacles.
Yep.
Great. So we got some soaps going out there. Awesome. Thank you, Janine. And let's also give away an astrological crystal kit. We got lots of giveaways today, you guys. Oh my goodness. You guys are lucky duckies with our Sun conjunct Jupiter and entering Cancer season, which is very much about generosity. I find Cancers are very generous, loving, nurturing. So we're spreading that vibe. Okay, what question do I want to ask everybody? Okay, what is the sign that Saturn and Neptune are both conjunct in at the moment? What is the astrological sign that we have Saturn and Neptune in conjunction in at the moment? I'm sure there's some people out there that know the answer. We've got some people saying it. A lot of people saying something that it isn't, but some of you guys are getting it. Okay, I'm going to go through. Here we go. And Rosie Thorne, 8847. You are correct. It's Aries. It's not Cancer, you guys. Saturn and Neptune are conjunct in Aries. We haven't had that since Babylonian times, end of Babylonian times. Wild. Congratulations, Rosie Thorne. Email us at beyondmystic.net and we'll get a astrological crystal kit out to you. And put in your email what your sun sign is so we can get you the proper kit. So yeah, Janine, do we want to do an end spread, some parting wisdom before we finish off today's show?
Yeah, let's do a little Kachina knife on just how to get through the weekend.
Sounds good. Yeah,
Right?
We're going to need it.
Let's have a look. Just anything the universe wants to tell us going into the weekend.
Yeah.
Going into the solstice weekend. Exciting.
Very exciting.
And Jens, everything you were saying, like my mind's still just going, wow. I'm starting to think about all these weird patterns both my parents had, and they were all from their childhood traumas. It's just wild. My dad would never, ever eat vegetables, and especially turnips or any kind of root vegetables, because they practically starved to death on a farm. My grandma would make turnip soup, and that's like, and she grew her own turnips, because my grandpa would go off to work for weeks and weeks at a time and not come home for weeks, and barely have any money when he did come home. It was really hard times, and they had 7 kids on the farm, and grandma would feed them turnip soup like for weeks at a time. And my dad, if you even bring a turnip in the house, he'd be so offended. And we had to have meat 3 meals a day, or he didn't feel safe.
Wow.
Yep. Okay. Yeah, I think a lot of people are going to get a lot out of that. Just even bringing your mind over there. And starting to think about those things. It's so important. Wow. Okay. So we've got some intense cards here. We've got the 3 of Swords, which is like a kind of a past hurt, and a lot of past hurts coming up. Okay. So maybe it's astrological. I'm not sure, but a lot of people, I'm going to talk about this really personally to everybody who's watching, because this feels really personal to the group watching. Okay. So I feel like a lot of old hurts and old understandings about things are going to resurface. We're going to be triggered, or there's triggering things that are going to happen. And like what maybe even happened for you, Meg, you were talking about being like fetal position on the couch.
Right.
I feel like don't be surprised if some things could really be ouchy this weekend, triggered by news reports, things people are saying, maybe things your family's saying, maybe what's on the news more like. Okay. And also a lot of people could be triggered by things Trump's saying out there, because that's a Trump card in this community. So people could be, and a lot of people might be throwing him under the bus here because of things he's saying. But I feel like wait before you do that, because things that he's saying are more like calms and less literal. So not to say we forgive him for anything, not saying that. We got to hold everybody's feet to the fire, but just be a little patient with your judgment, and understand you're probably watching calms, not necessarily like everything we're watching is every time the cards look at it, it's something totally different going on. So if you take it too literally, and you get all ouchy about it, it's probably a big waste of your energy. All right. You might want to just pull that in and just wait it out a little. Okay. There does seem to be something a little mind blowing here, especially to the general population. Like this is a revelation card, but it's right in the middle. So it's like the general population. So the general population could really get a big like drop of information, or there's a big awareness, or a large part of the population who aren't aware yet become a lot more aware by the end of the weekend. So that's going to be interesting. Like we've had these big, it's like a big spurt of a whole bunch of people that have had this trickle going in the back of their mind somewhere, and all of a sudden there's going to be a mass awakening, and it may not seem like it at first, because a lot of people don't talk about that or admit it, but you're going to see over the weeks and months following a lot more people really coming over to these kind of videos, and also just knowing more than you thought they did, like and being a little more on board with what we're talking about. So be surprised and don't underestimate. Humans are waking up. Okay, now we've got the Hermit, something to remember, and sort of advice here. So spend some alone time or individual time or spiritual connect time. So some people meditate. My version of meditation is playing music I love and doing something completely not structured, right? So sing, movement, something I didn't structure, art, creativity, something. So everybody has different ways to connect, but find a way to connect to soul energy, whatever that is. For some people, it's sitting in nature. For other people, it's petting their pets. And, everybody has a different way to do it. So find a way to have some really connect time with your inner self, meditative time and/or introspective time. Even this Hermit can be quite introspective. And then we've got the Chariot here. Okay, so that's interesting. Maybe less movement and more. I feel like more of this and less of this. These two are really opposite. So I feel like less charging around and taking risks out there. This guy takes risks, chances, and moves around a lot and is really in the physical world. And maybe more introspection, time alone, and peaceful energy. So more of this and less of that.
Wow. Very, very interesting. And that makes sense, Janine, what you're saying about there may be some feelings, emotions coming up from the past. Cancer does rule the past, right? So with Jupiter in Cancer and the Sun in Cancer starting tomorrow, there can be a lot coming up to the surface. Let yourself cry if it comes up. Let yourself process whatever comes up, because we don't, similar to the ancestral karma, we don't want those things to be stored in our body, right? So amazing, Janine. Thank you so much for that.
Jenny vẫn ngồi ở trên ghế, đã gần nửa canh giờ không có nói chuyện. Quan viên lớn nhỏ trong huyện Bá Châu tụ tập dưới một mái nhà, tất cả đều không nói một lời. Kiều Chi Huyền rõ ràng đây giống như là không có việc gì, nhìn xung quanh cũng nhìn liền trong lòng tức giận. Kỳ thật Kiều Chi Huyền lại muốn làm ra một bộ mặt bi phẫn yêu thương để tranh thủ chúng quan viên thông cảm. Chỉ tiếc thịt béo trên mặt gã thực sự nhiều lắm. Khi gật đầu nói dạ, thịt béo trên má và cằm đồng loạt run run. Nhìn thì rất có thể nghĩ, nếu như làm ra vẻ mặt bi phẫn, độ khó thật sự quá lớn. Cặp mắt kia chừng đến độ hơi biến dạng rồi, thịt béo trên mặt gã vẫn là rũ cộm lấy, không có chút thay đổi. Giang Bần phẫn nộ ngồi trên ghế bên cạnh Phàn Kỳ Châu, chiếc cổ quấn khăn thương tích, cánh tay treo lên, một chân nẹp cặp cũng không biết bị thương nặng bao nhiêu, chỉ là dòng y đổ văng rồi. thanh âm chấn trong mái nhà. Ít lặp lại những lời Phan Chi Châu đã nghe 800 lần, nước bọt bay tứ tung. Vừa nghe Chi Châu đại nhân dặn dò, mà tướng tập hợp đủ 3.000 nhân mã, rồi tiến Tân Tràng trong lòng cấp bách, dẫn mấy chục thân binh nhanh như điện chớp, gió thổi dẫn đầu xông vào Tân Tràng. Một đám điều dân nữ, người nhiều hơn nữa, bọn họ dám châm đối quan binh à? Nhớ ngày đó ở dịch trạm Kê Minh, đoàn tướng quân dẫn 200-300 quân tốt chống chọi được với 3.000 quân thiết kỵ tiến công. Đây cũng không phải là nói quá, bây giờ uy quốc công giang có thể vì bổn tướng làm chứng. Ưng ngực, Giang Vân nắm ấm trà lên liền tu một hớp lớn, quệt mồm nói. Ta nói với các người, bản tướng quân đơn đao đi gặp, thật đúng là đem bọn họ trấn trụ. Mắt thấy Tăng Hình đón Trương Công Công đi ra, liền không một ai dám tiến lên. Nhưng ai biết tên nào không có đầu óc bỗng nhiên ném củ gạch, làm địch mũ giáp của bản tướng quân. Cuộc chiến này người đánh chính là một khí thế, có khí thế chó cũng đổi thành hổ. Không khí thế, thiên quân vạn mã liền tùy ý chém giết. Chớ coi thường viên gạch này, đám bảo dân lập tức dầm dị đứng lên. Bảo vệ Trương Công Công quan trọng hơn đúng không? Ta không thể nhận biết giống bọn họ được, càng nhẹ cấp bách còn phân không rõ sao. Thấy tình thế không ổn, bổn tướng liền dẫn theo Trương Công Công phi ngựa chạy trốn. Tiên sư bà ngoại nhà nó chứ, ta chỗ nào biết dân chúng Bá Châu mỗi người một ngựa. Ngựa của ta vừa mới lặn nổi đường đến là một mình chở người có thể trốn thoát bọn họ sao? Ơi, bản tướng quân thật thê thảm, các người nhìn xem đầu ta này, tay ta này, chân ta đây, đau chết ta mất. Phan Chí Châu cười rộ hai tiếng nói, phong thái dân chúng Bá Châu luôn luôn vững vàng. Hơn nữa đám dân chúng phần lớn tinh thông thuật kỹ của võ công. Giang đại nhân sốt ruột cứu người, thân gầm trốn địch. Giang đại nhân chịu khổ, người đau mau đỡ Giang đại nhân hồi phục dưỡng thương nghỉ ngơi. Ai, em còn chưa nói xong. Những điều dân này cũng không biết Trương Cô Công có thâm kiểu đại hận gì, đuổi theo bọn ta không đầu không biết, liền kéo lấy Trương Công Công mấy tên thú lại để đập. Bọn họ vốn là không dám động đến ta. Bà tướng quân điều mình bảo vệ Trương Công Công, trong giận bọn họ mới bị đánh thành ra bộ dạng này. Lúc đang ngất đi, nhìn thấy quản gia của Trương Công Công, cái tên Hàn Bính đó bị một cuốc bổ đôi đầu, máu tươi óc não đổ sắc màu. Đáng tiếc bổn tướng thân mình còn no không xong. Ôi, giống với nước cạn bị tôm đùa giỡn à. Hồ giúp động vàng bị chó kinh nha. Dâm Mân là nhài nó không ngừng, vì hai tên nhà xài cưỡng ép đỡ ra ngoài. Ra cửa bán còn cố gân cổ hô, chuyện này vẫn chưa xong. Chi Châu đại nhân, đợi bọn tướng dưỡng thương xong, ta nhất định sẽ đòi lại trận này. Ai không có ngày thất thế, đợi khi lấy lại khí thế, sẽ có ngày rồng gặp nước. Ta muốn nước Trường Giang chảy ngược, ta muốn máu nhuộm nửa bầu trời. Ai? Ta không nói xong đâu. Phan Chí Châu chán ghét như mày quát, đóng cửa lớn lại. Cửa phòng đóng khép. Phan Chí Châu nhìn các phủ trấn quan nguyên Bá Châu yên vị trái phải, suy sụp ngồi xuống nói, thưa Bình, tình hình cơ bản là như vậy. Trong lúc hỗn loạn, ai cũng động thủ, cũng chả không rõ. Nhóm dân bạo loạn đánh người, Trương Công Công tứ chi tàn, hoàn toàn không nhận diện được, ta bắn lập tức giải tán. Muốn tìm hung thủ cũng tìm không được. Các người xem, nên phải làm thế nào mới được. Bá Châu đồng chi Quế Đàn lại nói, Phan đại nhân, dân chúng Bá Châu biến loạn, đánh chết tay giám chấn động, chuyện này không thể che giấu được, nhất định phải bẩm báo triều đình. Huống chi Uy Quốc Công đang ở Bá Châu, mình này sớm đã nghe qua rồi. Khi hắn hồi kinh lập chỉ, tất nhiên sẽ nhắc việc này với hoàng thượng. Trương Công Công người đã chết rồi, đại nhân ngài phải nghĩ ra biện pháp hay. Nếu không đáng nhiễu loạn này, ai cũng đảm đương không nổi. Chúng quan viên rất đồng tình, liên tục gật đầu đồng ý. Thông phán Tề Long Vũ nói, theo hạ quan điều tra, nguyên nhân sự tình gây ra Trương Công Công trừng trị thôi quan Hoa Ngọc Phố An tham lam trái pháp luật. Phố An huyện chưa xưng đục kính tụ tập trung sinh đi gây rối, lúc này mới thu hút rất nhiều điều dân. Đến nỗi tình tiết không thể vãn hồi, hạ quan cho rằng ứng với các người mục kính hỏi tội, dưới có thể chấn dân chúng, trên cũng có một lời giải thích với triều đình. Phố An huyện lành kiều ngữ tụ trên miệng nói, ây, có hả. Chi Châu đại nhân chưa bị đồng liêu, thôi quan Hoa Ngọc kia lại vẫn chưa chết, hiện giờ đang ở nhà dưỡng thương. Nghe nói Trương Công Công ở Cố An sương cao tiếng nặng, chen chúc ép dân chúng chuyển y giật cấp tuần sát ngự sử lên điều trần. Sau khi việc này phát sinh, y lại vượt cấp cho ngự sử đài trình báo điều trần. Nếu triều đình thật muốn nghiêm khắc truy tra xuống dưới thì Cố An huyện chưa muôn sinh về sau gây rối, chân tướng sẽ rõ ràng ngay. Đến lúc đó chỉ sợ ta và ngươi đều phải chịu liên lụy. Chúng quan viên vừa nghe lập tức lên mặt biến sắc. Những quan này thì chả có ai có cái mông sạch sẽ cả. Bẩm báo triều đình nói các tú tài Cố An gây rối, lý do này nắm thông được sao? Các tú tài vì sao tập trung gây rối, dám dưới sự bảo vệ của quan binh tập kích thái giám trấn thủ, đánh chết y và toàn bộ tùy tùng. Vốn quan viên trên dưới Bá Châu, nếu là số đông cùng nói một lời, bên này có thể lừa dối được, nhưng mà thôi quan Hoa Ngọc Cố An còn sống, hơn nữa vượt cấp kiện lên cấp trên, điều trần đều chưa đưa đến ngự sử đài rồi, chuyện này còn giấu giếm được sao? Nếu chẳng may triều đình truy ra mà xuống dưới. Trong phòng khách lập tức yên tĩnh, không khí ức chế kéo dài hồi lâu. Thôi quan Bá Châu Tôn Đình thật cẩn thận nói: Ê, hơn nữa một tú tài bị tứ yêu tăng sát hại tính mệnh, là uy quốc công gia giải tội trần oan cho y là quen biết quốc công gia, có cái mối quan hệ này, chớ nói y một tú tài nho nhỏ đảm đương không đổi trách nhiệm dân biến Cô An. Cho dù có thể, chỉ sợ cũng không dễ dàng đem tội danh này cắm trên đầu y được. Y lại quả thực trực tiếp dùng chữ cắm. Dù sao quan trong sảnh này có một tính một, đều có tầng tầng kết quan hệ lợi hại. Xử lý như thế nào tốt, dân biến Bá Châu thỏa đáng, làm thế nào giải thích rõ ràng chuyện trấn thủ thái giám bị người sống đánh chết thành một bãi bùn lầy với triều đình địa sự tình, quan hệ tới lợi ích bản thân mỗi người. Điểm mấu chốt này cũng không cần cố và che giấu. Diệp sư gia trầm giọng nói: Chư vị đại nhân dường như không cần lo lắng như vậy. Triều đình hiện giờ ai quản lý? Cung điện Lưu Công Công. Trương Công Công là người của Lưu Công Công. Y bị loạn dân đánh chết rồi, triều đình phái người truy ra, 89/10 chính là người của Lưu Công Công. Y sẽ tự bộc lộ xấu của mình sao? Lấy Lưu Công Công tìm không phải nói sao? Hơn nữa, mặc dù người tới không phải người Lưu Công Công, chỉ cần chúng ta trên dưới một đồng, một quan ở kinh thành như y đến nơi này có thể tra ra cái gì chứ? Đừng nói những dân chúng kia chưa chắc đã sẽ tin tưởng triều đình, hướng tới triều đình mà cáo trạng. Cho dù là tố cáo lỗi, chúng ta liên hệ tin tức trợ giúp lẫn nhau. Bất kể tra ra cái gì, đều đừng hòng tìm ra chứng cứ rõ ràng. Dù sao chúng ta ở đây kinh doanh nhiều năm, từ trên xuống dưới các điểm mấu chốt, tất cả quan viên gần như đều có thể nói là người đi theo chúng ta uống canh. Ai ở đây không có việc gì, triều đình cái gì cũng tra không ra. Chỉ dựa vào lời khai của mấy tên điêu dân có thể định tội cho ai. Chỉ cần chúng ta nói người đó là bạo dân nhất đảng cũng đủ để trị tội của y rồi. Lời y nói tự nhiên là không ai dám tin. Phan Chí Châu mặt dài vẻ lo lắng nói: Không đơn giản như vậy đâu. Đường trấn thủ thái giám bị loạn dân đánh chết, chuyện này không cách nào dàn xếp ổn thỏa. Mà kể người tới có phải là người của Lưu Công Công hay không, dù sao cũng phải giải thích với triều đình chứ. Nó là vì bạo dân chống nộp thuế, đánh chết trấn thủ. Vậy triều đình tất triệu tập đại quân càn quét Bá Châu. Chư vị, lần càn quét này lại không phải là sơn phạc mà là dân chúng. Hơn nữa, trong đó còn có tú tài bản xứ, chư sinh và các tài lượng phú thân. Nếu bốn phía tiêu diệt, biến Bá Châu tổn thương nặng nề, ta và các ngươi còn làm quan nơi đây sao được? Nếu cái khởi dân chúng biến loạn quy mô lớn, ta và ngươi đều một phương chăn nuôi. Chế độ triều đình phải thành còn người còn, thành vong nhân vong. Dám can đảm bỏ thành mà chạy, tất phán trảm xử tử. Nếu làm cho chiến tranh nổ lên bốn phía, chúng ta sợ ngay cả mạng cũng không còn giữ được. Phan Chí Châu u ám đưa tầm mắt nhìn qua nói: Đang ngồi tại đây không có người ngoài, chúng ta châu chấu cùng trên một sợi thừng, chạy không được, ta cũng nhảy nhót không dứt. Lã Phu liền nói thẳng vậy: Cho dù chúng ta muốn đem toàn bộ tội đổ lên đầu dân chúng đi, còn Dương Quốc Công và Hoa Thôi Quan còn đó cũng không thể lừa dối. Nếu như nói không phải trách nhiệm của dân chúng, vậy là trách nhiệm của ai? Dù sao cũng phải có người chịu tính xấu thay cho người khác. Hơn nữa người có tư cách chịu tiếng xấu thay cho người khác mới có thể bảo vệ mọi người chúng ta được. Xảy ra việc, những người làm quan có suy nghĩ đầu tiên không phải là làm thế nào điều tra rõ chân tướng, làm thế nào bình ổn sự tình, như thế nào trấn an quần chúng, mà là vội vã đi ra làm rõ là trách nhiệm của ai, có cần bản thân chịu trách nhiệm hay không, làm thế nào để chối bỏ trách nhiệm của mình, để bản thân không liên quan, không chịu liên lụy. Đây vẫn là đạo lý xưa đến nay. Phan Tri Châu vừa dứt lời, chúng quan mưu lập tức ngơ ngác nhìn nhau, ánh mắt dần dần tập trung vào người Kiều Chi huyện giống như pho tượng Phật. Toàn bộ các quan trước sau trái phải bên hắn đã lánh đi một bước, giống như thân thể y có bệnh dịch vậy. Kiều Ngữ Thụ biết rằng hôm nay tới 89/10 muốn bắt gã đệm lưng, cho nên sớm chuẩn bị một lý do thoái thác, chuẩn bị liều quả cá chết lưới rách, đem chuyện bê bối của người khác tung ra uy hiếp. Sự việc xảy ra dưới trướng gã quản lý, tiếng sống là gánh chắc rồi, nhưng cũng không thể để toàn bộ cho ta gánh, đó là phải bị chặt đầu đấy. Tuy nhiên trước khi đi, Hoa Thôi Quan cho gã cái chủ ý, Kiều Ngữ Thụ càng nghĩ càng có đạo lý. Giờ phút này đã tính trước kỹ càng, đã thấy tương tự ngày xưa, vái lại các đồng liêu tươi cười đầy mặt, ai ai cũng là vẻ mặt cười gian. Ta muốn hãm hại người thì không khỏi ngửa mặt lên trời cười ha ha, bước dài đến phía trước nghiêm nghị nói: Và đại nhân, tiếng xấu này ai đứng ra chịu, vẫn còn phải nói nữa sao? Ngay trước mặt có một ứng cử rất thích hợp mà, đã nhân ngài làm sao quên rồi. Phan Tri Châu mừng rỡ và bằng tiến lên nắm chặt hai tay Kiều Chi huyện, lệ nóng lưng chồng bà nói: Ngữ Thủ huynh ta là hiệp sĩ can đảm, tấm lòng nhiệt huyết, người yên tâm. Chỉ cần nuôi gánh tiếng xấu này, người chính là đại ân nhân của trên dưới tất cả quan viên Bá Châu chúng ta. Cha mẹ vợ con của ngươi chúng ta sẽ coi như là cha mẹ vợ con của mình, đối xử tốt với bọn họ, chăm sóc bọn họ. Kiều Chi Huyền rút bàn tay mập mạp trở về một cách mạnh bạo, trợn mắt một cái, dùng giọng mũi nói: Giờ bảo cái gì chứ? Chuyện chức chung là xảy ra dưới trướng ta quản lý, nhưng gã chết ở Tân Trang, vậy lại không nằm trong huyện Cố An ta rồi. Lại nói vì sao phát sinh dần biến này, tính thế nào cũng không thể đem chuyện này cắm hết lên đầu ta được. Tiếng xấu này sẽ là để cho người khác gánh, chứ công công phải gánh mới đúng chứ. Triều đình phải tra, ta đem tất cả sự việc không may đổ hết lên người trên công công, chứ công công bị chết xác đều tán loạn lộn xộn rồi, còn có thể lên công đường đối chất hay sao? Triều đình